we give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. And oh yeah, let's go to John chapter 5, verse 39. John chapter 5 and verse 39. It says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you would not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. Say, I come in my Abba's name, you receive. Say, how can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? You know, we hit that last night. That last part, because we know that what did Job do? Job was not seeking the honor that comes from Elohim only. He was seeking the honor that comes from men. So when we sit back and we look at the honor that comes from men, that's where we end up having a problem. So we're going to actually go to Isaiah to the 59th chapter and the 20th verse. Now, of course, you know, we've been talking about the acceptable sacrifices and things of that nature. And so that's why we started here. So, like, I got pages missing or something. Isaiah 59 and 20. Matter of fact, make it 17. Because that's coming back to something else, man. 59 and 17. For he put on righteousness as a breastplate, and a helmet of salvation upon his head. He put on the garments of vengeance for clothing, and was clad with zeal as a cloak. Before we go any further, what do you think any of those things, these three, he mentioned what? He put on righteousness as a breastplate. So what would he have put on at this particular instance? He would have put on faith. Now what does a breastplate cover? It covers the heart. So now let's look at something. Of course, this is very simplistic what we're going to look at. Let's look at something in Ephesians chapter 6. Didn't he say he put on the helmet of salvation? So what would be that helmet would be representative of? It's the same thing it would be represented, because you know the heart is the mind. It's really the same type of thing. But if we look at breastplate as righteousness, what's actually in your breastplate, so to speak? What's actually contained in them? Your breath. Your lungs, you know what I'm saying? Because you cover in the breastplate to protect what? All those vital organs that's in your inward parts. So if you put on the breastplate of righteousness, you would also look at that as it means is you taking on the breath of Yahuwah. You got his ruach in you. You know, you got the helmet of salvation because you have the word of salvation in your mind, and therefore you're girding up your body to prepare for battle. You know what I'm saying? Because every time you step outside, there's a war going on. You know what I'm saying? But we're actually going to sit back and look at the war going on, not only on the natural level, but really the war going on between two separate seeds. Because the word Zarah, it means seed, but it also means a practitioner of righteousness. So the seed that you belong to is also going to show what you practice. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't practice righteousness, so to speak. So this whole is Isaiah 59. What's that one? Yeah, Ephesians chapter 6. Thank you. What about 6 and 10? Say, finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuwah and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Elohim. Notice what you putting this armor on for. To be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Now, any of y'all familiar with what the word wiles means in English? When somebody says somebody's a wily veteran, like if you ever hear that in sports, somebody who's got some type of skill, some type of being able to move. We'll see what that word means in Greek. But wiles just means individual's modus operandi, so to speak. How they get down, how they move. They techniques and tactics. Now the word in wiles for Greek is cunning, arts, deceits, arts or trickery or craft. You know what I'm saying? So that means we have to be able to know. Remember how we talked about when we was dealing with the thoughts of foolishness and sin, and it says we are able unless Satan get advantage of us because we know his devices. So what's what we have to sit back and look at, and this goes back to what people were talking about. This is why my cousin and the others would say what Jacob did was trickery or deceit or craft. But it didn't say that Jacob was a skillful man. It said Jacob was a plain man. It said Esau was a cunning man in hunting. It said he was a skillful man. You know what I'm saying? Didn't describe Jacob in that fashion. So, and of course, we're going to end up looking at it just because of the separation of seeds and that, because that does go into what we were talking about. We're going to talk about it anyway. He just added on to it by mentioning it. So, does anybody see what Jacob did in the 27th chapter of Genesis is trickery? And if so, why? You know what I'm saying? Because I don't see Jacob actually performing anything at all. I see Jacob doing what he was told to do. So if anybody wanted to say any trickery was being done, they would have to put that on his mama. You know what I'm saying? I know some people say he could say not to do it. Yeah, that's not Eastern culture though, buddy. Niggas gonna do what they mom and daddy told them to do. And that's just what it was gonna be for real. All that talking back like niggas do now, you already know that, you get stoned. You wasn't finna talk back to your parents in Eastern time. You know what I'm saying? You could, but you were literally gonna die. That's probably why black people make that statement when their kids talk back to them now.
I mean, honestly, I thought about it at one point, but when you actually peep the story, and like you said about her, she peeped the game, like she already knew. She knew Esau, that's her son. They don't want this, so give it to the one that want it.
Indeed. And on top of the fact, as you mentioned, if you pay attention, she already knew what time it was. She already knew what time it was. So she's saying, I got to do this because my husband ain't going to go along with their program. And y'all's will has to be accomplished. So that actually, people don't really look at it. Her action is really a strong manifestation of her faith because this going to happen. This going to happen. Yeah, she could have just sat there and let him do it. She know when Isaac was going to give Jacob and Esau that blessing. She heard him talking about Esau, my son, go get that venison which I love. She said, come here, boy. We got to bust a move real quick. Why? Don't ask me no questions. That's basically what she told him. Don't ask me no questions. Go on in there and get that goat right. Matter of fact, she said, go and get a kid. I'm going to cook him for you now. You ain't got to do nothing. Your daddy finna get that birthright to your brother. He can't get that. Mama, he gonna think about. Don't worry about that. I got a plan for that too. Put this sweat on. You know what I'm talking about? She told him put that sweat on. We already mentioned we gonna read it too. But mama, I'm gonna get a curse. Don't you worry about that. Mama gonna get that curse, baby. You just let mama handle that. That's what she said. Basically, she told him whatever happened, I'm taking responsibility for it, son, not you. See, everybody overlook Rebecca because they look at the action versus Rebecca say, whatever go down, I'm responsible for it. You ain't responsible for it, son, because you're doing what I told you to do. That's why when Yahushua, whatever they said about Yahushua, you ain't responsible for that, son, because I told you to do it. You know what I'm saying? But then they don't look at it. And then you look at it like this here, right? We could take John 12:49. He said, my mother gave me a commandment, what I should do and what I should say. And her commandment was life everlasting. But we'll tie that in a moment. Let's go back to Ephesians chapter 6, though. But anybody know anything of the wiles of the devil besides trickery? Because we know he did that with Eve. Can anybody think of anything else that he would? Because not just trickery, but it says craft or art or skill. I mean, that's the same thing as trickery. Because we know he told her bold-faced lie, he tricked her. Because the book says that she was in the transgression as being deceived. That you deceive somebody, you tricked them. But what about how he enticed David to number the people when he knew that was wrong? So one of the things that Satan like to do besides tricking you is entice you with the things that you desire to do. So he entices you with your lust. You know what I'm saying? What did he come at with Mashiach with? I know he's going to be over everything. Let me entice him with this. Because this is what his heart desires. That's why you have to be careful when you be like, oh, I want this and I want that. And then you seem to get it, but you got to sin or go outside the will of Elohim to get it. Y'all ain't got nothing to do with that. People always trip me out, that's a blessing. I love this man. But you had to sin to get it. Y'all ain't had nothing to do with that. You ain't never got to sin to get nothing that y'all got for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know if you step outside the way Kadesh told you, don't go to the left hand nor to the right. Stay straight. So if you have to deviate out, he ain't got nothing to do with that. I done told y'all this before, and I was talking to Trap about it this morning too. You know, niggas go hard because Christmas on Monday, right? But guess what? These people gonna celebrate Christmas regardless. You know what I'm saying? So then it comes down to this. Are you really trying to convince yourself that Christmas is wrong, or are you trying to convince them it's wrong because you really want to do it deep down in your heart? Because anything that you solid in, believing in is correct, you don't have to do that. But then, like he mentioned, though, sometimes it'd be like, this the truth. We want people to believe it. You gotta believe it because it's the truth. People don't want to. People gonna do what they do. I seen a woman today say, yeah, I'd lie to my kids and tell them Santa and Tooth Fairy is real. Who got a problem with it? How you gonna reach somebody like that? This is a grown woman. You know what I'm saying? I went to school with her. I know she that stuff. You know what I'm talking about? But I told her, you know what would be better if you wanted people not to celebrate Christmas? How about you preach the gospel first and went into Mashiach, and then you could come around later and show them that there, and you might have a better chance than to come at them like, y'all so stupid. I told him this here because Lee put it out there, and I seen others do it. The only relevant thing to talk about Christmas is why you putting young girls in a stranger's lap. You wouldn't put them in a stranger's lap any time else, any time of the year. But now it seemed cool for you, a white man at that, to put your black baby in a white man's lap. You wouldn't put your black baby in a white man's lap on June 23rd. Wouldn't do it on March the 12th. You ain't gonna do it September the 6th, but all because of the Thursday in November, all the way to December 24th, it's cool for you to set your child in a stranger's lap. This Santa, baby, this nasty nigga could be a pedophile. Got all manner of erections while these children sitting in their lap. I don't know this nigga. You wonder why them children be screaming, hollering when they say this here. This niggas like children. Don't sit me over. They do the same thing with the Easter bunny too. That's the only other time you sit a nigga in a nigga lap. Now you want to sit a nigga in lap in a big old oversized rabbit, and you niggas don't see there's nothing wrong with that. And how many of y'all done seen pictures of them children screaming and hollering when you sit them in these niggas lap? Cause they know, I don't know this nigga. This nigga could have a chubby. You done sat me in his lap. Nigga going home, dreaming about children, watching child porn. You don't know. That's here though. How many of y'all got a daughter gonna see a strange nigga and say, sit in his lap, baby?
Because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're really celebrating.
No, they don't. But at the same token though, a lot of them do.
Yeah, it's so funny to me. I don't know.
A lot of them do.
Jesus' birthday, but some holidays same time.
And the niggas that be in that Easter bunny suit and cartoon character, that be niggas that can't find jobs.
So, hey, and at the same token, I ain't mad at them niggas because they doing, hey, boy. But at the same token, though, I ain't taking no job where you got to put children in my lap. I don't know these children. I'm not cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I'll stand outside and dance in my rabbit suit. I might even stand outside and dance in the Santa suit. But you ain't gonna be setting no children in my lap because I don't want nobody coming back talking about he touched my child. No. No. These people crazy, man. I ain't with it. It done happen somewhere, probably. Santa done touched me.
Santa slipped them digits in the pocket.
Like this here. Ooh, Santa might have slipped them digits. Now, nigga, if Santa slipped them digits in the pocket, he did it like this here. Tell your mama to call me. You know what I'm talking about? Tell you. It was some picture of a white Santa with a black woman talking about Santa finna lose it all. I said, no. Nigga say Santa ain't real. That white man say, look at that black booty. I want some of that. Nasty buzzer. But 6 and 12, man. It's nasty buzzer. He say, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness. So if you got the breastplate of righteousness on, and he say your loins, you know, what are your loins? Your loins, these no hip area, all this here, you're growing, all that type of stuff. So having your loins built with faith. But really you got faith in the inward parts. Because remember, Psalms tell you that he desires wisdom in the inward parts. Everything going to go back to this is inward. So let's look at something what Mashiach say. John 12 and 44. We come right back to John 6. Philippians 6. I'm going to just hit this John 12 early before we get to what I want. Say, Yahushua cried and said, he that believe on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. He that see me, see him that sent me. I come a light into the world, that whosoever believe on me should not abide in darkness. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I come not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that reject me and receive not my words, have one that judge him. Remember, this is what Esau did. To reject the birthright is to reject the word of Yahuwah. The birthright, because you got to understand something. Isaac's birthright is the covenant of Yahuwah. Not just the firstborn birthright. We know that by what Isaac blessed him with. Since I said that, let's pause and let's look in the law and verify it in Genesis 26, and we come right back because we got to just verify, because it might be somebody who don't know what we talking about. Let's look at Genesis chapter 26 and verse 1, because we got to look at it. It's just not the regular birthright of son, you get everything that I have. The birthright is this covenant. You don't realize that that covenant with Yahuwah made with our people, that's our birthright? You have a right to that by reason of being a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why you have a right to it. That's why he say the Gentiles were without hope, because they did not have a right to that until Yahushua came, and then they had a right to be a partaker in it. They couldn't make a claim of the covenant of Israel. They couldn't do that. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines, under Gerar. And Yahuwah appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Mizraim, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of, and sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and baruch thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed will I give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of Shamahim, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be baruch. So this is the birthright. You don't think Isaac told them about that? This ain't no regular birthright. You know, the birthright is you get this land, and every person upon the face of the earth will be blessed because of you. See, niggas overlook what this birthright really is. It's bigger than just, I get all my father's sheep and cattle. You understand what I'm saying? The birthright is Yahuwah himself. And Esau rejected that. He rejected that. Y'all know niggas who reject it all the time and doing just like Esau here, trying to seek it with tears. He done rejected you. He don't want you. All that woo-hoo crying don't mean nothing, because when you had a chance to do right, you chose not to. Come on back to John chapter 12. Verse 48. He that reject me and receive not my words have one that judge him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as Abba said unto me, so I speak. So remember, right, he said it's the Ruach that quickeneth. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. So when you have the breastplate of righteousness, you have the word inside of you. You know what I'm saying? Because what is the righteousness of Elohim? It is faith. Faith come by hearing, hearing come by the word. Therefore, when you hear the word, and we know the new covenant is what? His law and his words in your heart and in your inward parts. That is the breastplate of righteousness. If you don't have the word inside of you, then you don't, because then guess what? It protects your chest. Which means that you can stand the wiles of the devil because you are protected. Because his breath is inside of you. Because see, we're going to read that in 1 John in a minute. He said that the adversary can't touch you. Well, we can read this because I was going to read another one. 1 John 5 and 17, because I was actually going to read something different than John. So that's not the one. So we can read that. We'll pick it up at verse 13. These things have I written unto you, that you believe on the name of the Son of Elohim, that you may know that you have eternal life, and that you may believe on the name of the Son of Elohim. This is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hear us. And if we know that he hear us, whatsoever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we desired of him. If any man see his brother sin, which is not a sin which is not unto death, he shall ask, and he shall give him life for them that sin not unto death. There is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. Know what this really telling you is? If somebody commits a sin that's not unto death, you praying that y'all forgive him. If he commits a sin that's unto death, he said, I didn't say for you to pray for him. You know what I'm saying? That's a hard word that nobody want to hear. But you know where that comes from this epistle letter? If I'm not mistaken, it would be Jeremiah 14. It might be Jeremiah 17. Where he told Jeremiah, don't pray for this people, because they commit adultery and they worship idols and this, that, and the third. He said, don't pray for life for them, because I'm a killer. So then when you see a Mashiach coming back in John 17 and say, I don't pray for the world, I don't pray for them, Because why would I pray for them when they committing sins unto death? You know what I'm saying? And that goes back into what I be telling y'all when niggas like, you gotta have mercy and compassion. I don't have to have anything. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even my space to even be praying for you if you committing sins unto death and you knew better. It's different if you didn't know, because who can have compassion on those who are ignorant and out of the way? You didn't really know. But if you know, remember what he said, if any man see his who? His brother. This ain't somebody outside the household. This somebody who was a professor of the faith. He said, don't pray for him. He done committed a sin unto death. He said, there is a sin unto death. I do not say that he shall pray for it. Meaning if you petition Yahusha on this person's behalf, that don't mean Yahusha gonna hearken under that. This nigga knew what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you asking me about that, folks? I don't know nothing about that. That person making ask before, he say, you better not do it. But see, don't nobody want to hear that, because that don't make people feel comfortable. What type of God would do that? Shoot, nigga, you knew what you were signing up for when you got on the contract. You know what I'm saying? That's why just like I told y'all before, right? I cannot deny anybody from being immersed. I can't tell you if a nigga tell you they want to immerse somebody, that is a very wicked thing to do. Because there's no text for that. If y'all want this person to be damned by getting immersed, who are you to stop his will from being accomplished? Go and get that nigga wet so they can go to hell. Who are you to stop it? You don't even know y'all can put it in a person's heart to say, I want to get baptized today. He know they wicked. He know they don't believe. So go ahead and make this profession of faith that you believe on me and you dying to sin so that I can kill you later.
I think about John the Baptist, the Pharisees that came in Matthew 3.
Yeah, he said, who told you to flee from the wrath to come? Who told you to even come around here? He didn't say he wouldn't do it. He didn't say, nigga, who told you to come around here? But guess what? If they would have came, he told them to do what? Bring forth fruits meet for repentance. He knew what them niggas would come. He knew them niggas wouldn't come around there to get baptized. Let's not get it twisted. They wouldn't come around there for that. They would come around there to see what was going on. Because they wanted to run their mouth. Because we know that from the other place, he said the baptism of John, was it of men or was it from Shamahin? They said we can't tell. So they wasn't coming around there for that because they didn't believe in it in the first place. See, it's only two things that you can tell somebody when they coming to get immersed. One we just mentioned, bring forth fruits meet for repentance. And the second one is, do you believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim? Who am I to tell you don't believe for real? I can't tell you that. You could have been sinning all day, every day, and then you get an epiphany and say, I want to repent. Who am I to tell you that? You come on in. Go and get in here. Didn't know you're going to hell if you playing with it. I can't stop you. You don't. How many times you done seen somebody come to a prophet or a man of Elohim and you who will let them come for the purpose of killing them? He didn't say, don't come over here because you wicked, man. I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. Let me say, come on, cuz. I got you. What did Jeremiah say to Hananiah when he gave that false prayer? He said, amen, man. Let it be as Yah has told you. He ain't fight with that nigga. Say, that's a false prophecy. That's not the prophecy he gave to me. He said, amen, brother. Amen, brother. Bring it to pass, y'all. Bring it to pass. He went on his way. Only reason he went back because y'all told him to go back and tell that nigga about himself. He ain't do that. You have to really look at that. Niggas be trying to stop. It's the same token of when y'all told them to kill the king of Amalek. And the nigga saved him. This is a man whom I've appointed to death. Kill that nigga. You know what I'm saying? If y'all got somebody that's appointed to death, who are you to stop it? Because regardless, if you don't want to do it, y'all gonna make sure this nigga get killed. I want him dead. It's not you can't save some. It's the same thing he told Samuel. You can't save somebody who y'all's rejected. What you weeping over him for? Get up and go do what I told you to do. You can't save them. See, we be trying to save people because you want them saved. But y'all got to want them saved. And then secondarily, and also just as important, they have to want to be saved. What we talking about last night? A Kadeshim is rare. A faithful man is rare. A virtuous woman is rare. They are rare. They're not easily found. But it's a whole bunch of niggas claiming they faithful men and virtuous women, though. Somebody lying. You know what I'm saying? Somebody lying. Because all these people can't be faithful and all these women can't be righteous. Nevertheless, verse 17, listen what he said. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. We know that whosoever is born of Elohim sin not, but he that is begotten of Elohim keep himself, and the wicked one touch him not. If that breastplate of faith is in you, that wicked one can't touch you. That's why he say don't, you know what I'm saying? Be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. In the world you shall have tribulation. That wicked one still ain't touched you. Because that wicked one didn't even touch Job. He touched what Job had. You know what I'm saying? Then if you go that far, oh, he hit him with boils. But the wicked one couldn't touch Job. The wicked one can't touch nobody. Come on back to Ephesians chapter 6, though. Wherefore take unto you, we in verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the Basora of Shalom. You know what it means to have your feet shod? That means your feet are grounded. Like we talking about that hope is an anchor to the soul. You built upon the rock, you can't be moved. And above all, taking the shield of faith, where you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Elohim. So now if you got the helmet of salvation, that's the word in your... Because all this stuff we springing at before we come back and make it complete, y'all will by the time we get finished, was the renewal of the covenant that we were reading about in Exodus 33 and 34. Because before the covenant was renewed, he was talking about extending grace unto them. So before we can get even to the covenant being renewed, you have to deal with the grace aspect of the whole conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because the favor and the acceptance has to be extended unto you before I actually make another covenant with you. Because like I told you, these people don't realize the covenant was broken the minute they made the golden calf, and that contract was dead. The covenant don't say if you sin 10 times, if you sin 15 times. The covenant says if you sin, you've broke it. When they took that calf and made it, they broke it. And then like I said, because Trav was telling me he did a lesson and niggas disagreed with him. And it was about that with Yah, it's always business and never personal. People say, it is personal, it's at the end of third. It's never personal. Yah has never moved to strike anyone with wrath out of personal. It was always business. They disobeyed. Even when he dealt with Moses and he said, man, I'm going to kill all these niggas, man. And I'm going to make a nation out of you. He said, yeah, but what about? He said, you know what? That's business, because I did promise that to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So therefore, I'll spare them for their sake. Because an emotional person would have killed them people and forgot about the covenant that he made with those three people. He would have forgot about it and said, I'm mad in the moment, so I'm going to strike right here in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Who has Yah ever moved on without cause? He didn't move on David without cause. He didn't move on Solomon without cause. He didn't even move on Yahushua without cause. Did wrong judgment proceed? Yes, it did. But the cause was to redeem man from death. So it still was not without cause. It was still business. It wasn't personal. You know what I'm saying? Because if the master said, I must be about my father's business, then it's never personal. It's business. Let's come on back to Isaiah 59. Why you think a lot of people get upset with a nigga when they ask a nigga a question and then you render... They think it's personal when you say something. You think I'm going to go to hell? Well, based off your works, it seems it's highly likely. You know what I'm saying? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I got a chance? Well, let's look at the evidence. And let's check the evidence and judge it according to the word. And then that will be the determining factor of my statement. And a nigga sit back and look at, oh, he just said that because he don't like me. Or he said it because you thinking it's personal. Most people who think judgment is personal are people who do things in a personal fashion. You know what I'm saying? When you have to judge according to the word, it can never be personal. Because you know what happened? You know what the law says, right? The judgment is of Yahuwah, it's not of man. So when you doing it personal, you taking the judgment and you making it about yourself. And you taking Yahuwah out of the equation. You can't operate like that. Nevertheless, verse what it is? 17. He said he put on the garments of vengeance for clothing and was clad with zeal as a cloak. According to their deeds, accordingly he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. The islands he will pay recompense. So shall they fear the name of Yahuwah from the west, and his esteem from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Ruach of Yahuwah shall lift up a standard against him. Y'all know what a standard is, right? Y'all know what a standard is? Well, that is a banner. It's a banner. Now, in this one here is telling you that the word is nus, and it's to flee and to escape. Because when you read another place by standards, by lifting up a banner. So what y'all think he says when the enemy shall come in like a flood, The Ruach of Yahuwah shall cause them to be able to escape. Y'all got an idea what I could be talking about? But when was the first time we can read about an enemy coming like a flood?
Exodus.
In Exodus. So let's look at it in the future tense, and let's go to Revelation chapter 12. No, he's saying the spirit of Yahuwah will cause the people to flee, to get out of there. That's what allowed them to get away from them when they crossed the Red Sea. Because he said when the enemy come in like a flood. Hold on, let me pull that word out there for you. Say when the enemy shall come in like a flood. So when we look at like a flood, that word for flood is nahar, and it's a stream or a river or expectation or figuratively, probably what, but they coming in to take you out.
I was gonna say, what's that in with Ezekiel with Gog and Magog?
Gog and Magog, something totally different from what we finna read in Revelation. The same type of scenario, but different thing than we're looking at. 12 and what? 10? Or 12 and 9? And the great serpent was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Hashatan, who deceived the whole world. He was cast into the Arats, and his Malachim were cast out with him. So remember we already talking about the wheels, because he's deceiving the whole world through trickery, and craft. And now I heard a loud voice in Shamahim. I heard a loud voice saying in Shamahim, now has come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our Elohim, and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused him before Elohim day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice ye, Shamahim, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of their rats and to the sea, for the serpent or the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he know he have but a short time. And when the serpent saw that he was cast into the rats, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, times, and a half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon, the serpent, cast out his mouth. And the serpent was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Elohim and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Now, when we look at the word seed, it is a raw. So when we look at the characters of this said seed, we have the Zayin, the Rosh, and the Ayin. So what is these 3 characters telling us?
What was the Zayin, Rosh, and what was it?
And the Ayin.
That's eyes.
You saw the head cut. You saw the head impaled. That's why we started with Isaiah 59. Basically, you seen the head crucified. If the word for seed is a ra, and the characters are the Zayin, the Rosh, and the Ayin, you saw the head cut. So then that takes the seed to a whole totally different conversation. Especially when we take what? If you saw the head cut for you to become the seed, which allowed you to become the seed, it had to be grace. You know what I'm saying? Which means the favor or acceptance or the pity of Elohim. The word for grace is khan, which is what? The separated seed. If you saw the head cut and you were the separated seed, it would make you quicken. Or kaya, or the seed that is separated by the hand. All of these 3 things we talk about tie into one particular thing, and that's it, and that's faith. Because you're not separated by the hand by the law, you're separated by the hand by faith. You don't see the head cut unless you believe that. Seeing the head cut or crucified or impaled is what caused you to be separated by his hand, to be that seed that was separated. So it's going to take you back to faith every time. So then it makes the conversation that Paul is having about grace and faith and grace and the law, and it bring it into perspective. Because without the crucifixion, because when he say, do you desire to be under bondage, without the crucifixion and resurrection of Yahushua, you still in bondage to this flesh. And if you in bondage to this flesh, then you in bondage to death. And then that means you're going to hell. That's a hard conversation to swallow, but it is what it is. But you notice he said the enemy would send the flood. We see the enemy sending the flood. because he had a problem. He was trying to kill that seed. And where do we see that happening? We see that happening in Exodus. They tried to kill that seed. We see that in Matthew. They were trying to kill that seed because he said that the seed was already formed from the foundation of the world. Remember that in Psalms? Said my members were already written in the book. So let's proceed forward. Let's go back to Isaiah 59. And we're in verse 20. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahuwah. As for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah, my ruach that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed's seed, saith Yahuwah, from henceforth and forever. So now we need to establish two things as we proceed to direct where we going. Where can we see him put in the spirit upon this individual who he's talking? Because clearly he's talking to somebody. Somebody will say that is Yasharal. He said, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahuwah, my ruach that is upon thee. Where can we read where he put his ruach upon this individual? You should catch it in two different locations where he did this at. You should know in two different spots in the text where the ruach was placed upon Yahusha. Well, let's look at that one. Matthew 3 and 16. Make it 3 and 13. Then come Yahusha from Galilee to Jordan unto Yachanan to be immersed of him. But Yachanan forbade him, saying, I have need to be immersed of thee, and come thou to me. Let me ask y'all a question. How many times do we can read Yahusha immersing anybody? Not one time. He ain't immersed nobody in this text, not once. Not one time. Actually, I take that back. He did do it once. But anybody know where he did it once? But not in the conventional sense of where you thinking that he did it. He did it. He literally did it one time. Actually, hey, you might want to get your boy. He did it one time. But this will cause you to think about the law. He did do it once.
With the he had a condition. I forgot what was it.
Not the dude in the pool, because Yahusha ain't had nothing to do with that. I narrowed it down. He did it before he died. In the 13th chapter of John, does anybody know what happened in the 13th chapter of John? Peter asked him to do something to say, hey, Mashiach told Peter, if you don't let me do this, you ain't got no part with me. He washed their feet. If you actually go look in Exodus chapter 30, if you go read Exodus chapter 30, the priests had to wash their feet. You know what I'm saying? In a laver of brass, if my memory serves me correctly. Which, what he was doing was immersing them in the priest's office to prepare them to be priests. That's the only time that you could take anything in the text and say he immersed anybody. Now he's getting immersed here to fulfill Exodus chapter 40 because the priest has to wash themselves before they can be anointed with the oil and put on the priest's garment and go be a priest. You notice he didn't preach until he got immersed. You know what I'm saying? He got to do that to follow the laws of a high priest. Now, I'm just mentioning this here so you can know, because we haven't got to these parts in the law about that in the book of Exodus. So when we get to them, you'll be like, all right, cool. Now I know why this occurred and why this happened. This is why he says suffer it to fulfill all righteousness. Because does anybody know the characters for Torah? Because I was looking at it this morning. Any of y'all familiar with what they are? The characters in Torah. Well, I got them for you because I already have them prepared. You have the Torah, which is what? The covenant, and the covenant was the mark, and the covenant was confirmed on the stake. Then you got the what? The wa or the u or whatever the case may be. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. And you go ahead, Stan. Yeah.
That's the W.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's the consume, destroy.
Or you got to use that the nail, because that's what destroyed it, correct? And then you got the next one is.
You talking about the ooh.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that's
the nail. That's the nail. Mm-hmm. So you got a covenant secured by a nail. Yeah. Then you got what? You got the Rosh, which we know that's the head. So the head or the head of man was crucified or secured on a stake. And the last one is the head, or again, a man. So Torah in itself, the word Torah itself is pointing you to what? Not as the word made flesh, but a man being impaled. Was telling you what? That the law was your schoolmaster to bring you to Mashiach. That the law was about faith the whole time. And niggas overlook that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas overlook that. Because they don't want it. Because then you can see that the law is really about who? Yah's righteousness and not man's. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what niggas missing. That's why Israelites love the law so much over faith. Not there's anything wrong with loving the law, but they love the law over faith. Because then I'm righteous and Yahuwah is not. We cannot make the mistake that Job made. Now luckily for Job, Yah didn't kill him. He just gave him, you gotta realize something. Yah rebuked Job for 3 whole chapters. The 38th chapter of Job, actually the 37th chapter of Job, the 38th chapter, the 39th, the 40th, and the 41st. So you know that's a long conversation for the voice of Yah to tell you about how dumb you are. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you thought you was, so you thought you was, he said, nigga, where was you when I laid the cornerstones and all the morning stars sang for joy? Where was you at? You know what I'm saying? When I did this over here, where was you at? Where was you at? So you righteous and just because you did what sit back and think about that. You righteous and just for doing what I told you to do, which is your whole duty of man. You're not a righteous and just child because you do what your parents told you to do. You were doing what you were instructed to do. So then you would turn around to you, and every one of us done did it, because most of you only did what your parents told you to do when you wanted something. And then when it was time for you to try to get what you wanted, what's the first thing you said? Well, I did everything you told me to do, so now you have removed the righteousness from your parents and laid it upon yourself as if they owed you for doing what you were supposed to do. That's all that the point is when the book tell you that no flesh is justified by the works of the law, but by the works of faith. Because you now feel like you have the unmitigated gall to step to Yahuwah and say, you got to do this for me. You owe me. You owe me. I did what I kept your commandments. You owe me. Now, how would you feel if your child came to you like this? You told them to clean your room, told them to wash the dishes, take the trash out. You know what I'm saying? You know how many kids come home with a report card with all A's and feel like you supposed to give them money because they peers people do it? Well, why you don't give me no money? Because, nigga, I sent you to get all A's. Nigga, I don't expect nothing less. I would not reward you for doing what you're supposed to do. But we live in that type of world, do we not? Nigga feel like you supposed to get rewarded for doing what you're supposed to do. No, nigga, I don't owe you. I don't owe you. And that's what we have to look at. Y'all don't owe nobody. Continuing on, where we at? Matthew 3:30. Hello, Abigail. Yes, you're doing amazing work with that apple there, considering you only have 4 teeth. 3 and 13, though. We're in 3 and 15. And Yahushua answering said unto him, suffer it be so now, for thus it become us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he suffered him. And Yahushua, when he was immersed, went straightway up out of the water, and lo, the Shamahim were opened unto him. And he saw the Ruach of Elohim descending like a dove and lighting upon him. And lo, a voice from Shamahim saying, this is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. Y'all need to go sit down. Either you're going to sit right here, you need to go over there and sit down. So now we see the Ruach lighting upon him there. Where's the next place the Ruach fell upon him? When he raised him from the dead, which we read in Romans. So now it says the Spirit and the Word. We just read in John chapter 12 about he put the words in his mouth. So we don't have to read that again. We already read that. So how does this Word get in his seed's mouth and that Ruach get on his seed? How is this accomplished? How does his seed get this breastplate of righteousness? Because remember, it's dealing with what? Seed is dealing with you have seen the head impaled. The only way you can see the head impaled is from Torah. So let's see how we can see the head impaled. Let's take a different track of work. Acts chapter 10 and verse 37. And then John chapter 20. Acts chapter 10 verse 37. We'll make it verse 34. Oh, that ain't no plug. He trying to get in it though, ain't he? Let's take the plate. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that Elohim is not a respecter of persons, but in every nation he that fear him and work righteousness is accepted with him. Does anybody know what it is to work righteousness from what we looked at about a week ago? What is it to work righteousness? What is the work of Elohim? To believe on him whom he hath sent. This is the work of Elohim. He say the word which Elohim sent unto the children of Yasharal, preaching shalom by Yahushua HaMashiach. That word I say you know, which was published throughout all Yehuda, and began from Galilee after the immersion which Yachanan preached. How Elohim anointed Yahushua Nazareth with the Ruach HaKodesh and with power, which we just read, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Elohim was with him. And again, that goes back to we said, if your presence be with me, give me rest, or give me shalom. And you know what shalom is? That's to destroy the authority attached to chaos. This was the purpose that the son of Elohim was manifested for in the first place. And we are witnesses of all things which he did, both in the land of the Yahudim and in Jerusalem, whom they slew and hanged on a tree. So right there, they witnessed him being slew and hanged on a tree. This is the Peter talking, which we know they are part of that seed, are they not? Him Elohim raised up the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but unto witnesses chosen before of Elohim, even to us who did eat and drink with him after he rose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach unto the people and to testify that it is he which was ordained of Elohim to be the judge of quick and dead. To him give all the prophets witness that through his name whosoever believe in him shall receive remission of sins. So now this takes us back to some of all of the things that we've been discussing and tied all. Now when he noticed it, he say he's the judge between the quick and the dead. We talked about being quickened last night. That's the people who are separated by the hand. So what do you think he means when he say he's the judge of the quick and the dead? Why is there a difference between the quick and the dead? And if there is a difference, what is it? That's why the master said, let the dead bury the dead. So if he say he the judge between the quick and the dead, then you should say he's the judge between those who have grace and those who do not, because those who have grace are the separated seed. The separated seed have been afflicted for righteousness' sake, which means they've been have the kaya, which means they're separated by the hand, which is taking us back to Isaiah 59:20, because he said the Redeemer will come to Zion and all them who turn from transgression in Jacob. Because you can't be separated without believing in Mashiach. There's no separation from you at that point. See, this the part, and guess what he said? All the prophets bear witness, right? That you got to believe on his name to get remission of sins. Not that you keep the law. You see how faith and grace trump the law? Because the text doesn't say that your sins are forgiven by keeping the law. Can anyone think of a verse that even says that? In the Old Testament or the New? It ain't there. It's not there. Not that it gets your sins forgiven. The only thing an individual going to come close with is if they mention Ezekiel 18. If a man turn from his works. But if you turn it from your works, it's because you will believe in Yahuwah. Because you will believe that the wrath that he would place upon your head will come upon your head for your disobedience. He said, therefore choose life and death. He said, I laid before you life and death. That means he gave you a choice. Do you believe or not? See, niggas don't want to look at that. That's why he say many men proclaim their faithfulness, but a faithful man who can find? Well, he found one, and you better latch on to him. That's why I say that's rare. It is very few men and women on this earth that are truly faithful in Yahuwah. Like I seen a woman the other day, and she right though, to a certain extent. Ain't no certain extent, she dead right. She say the main people that push polygamy are niggas who ain't even got a wife. Do you know what I'm saying? Niggas say, how you pushing polygamy, you ain't even got a wife? Then another person asked the question, if it's so many righteous and virtuous women, why ain't none of these people married? Do you know what I'm saying? So then you look at either all these niggas ain't righteous and all these women ain't virtuous, or it's only a handful of people who, because I seen niggas like this here, right? The higher your standards are, the smaller your options are. If you have a lot of options, that means your standards aren't very high. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got a woman and she got a lot of options to pick from, her standards can't be that high, because clearly you ain't too discriminatory. Because you shouldn't. And if a man got a lot of women chasing after him, clearly his standards ain't too high. Because when you look at life, period, the higher your standards are, the smaller your options are, because you got more quality to choose from. See, niggas happy to have a lot of quantity to choose from. I got 60 niggas after me. I got 60 women after me. But how many of them are a quality choice? You know what I'm saying? Because if you got 60, you can already cancel that 40 of them ain't nowhere close to quality. You know what I'm saying? Straight up down. We know we could cancel 40 off the rip. So now you left with 20. Now we know that off the real, at them 20, 10 of them faking. So now you're left with 10. And then we know out of that 10, we're going to have to whittle that down even small. And 10 is a large amount of people talking about to have options. 10 is a lot of people. You know what I'm talking about? You hear niggas say they got options, they standards low. They standards low. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? When you go to the dollar store or certain discount stores, you got a lot of options. You can buy a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I'm talking about? You go to somewhere that's a little higher end, you ain't got a lot of options because you ain't got a lot of money to spend. You buy one item and that's the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Because they standards are a little high based on the quality of the garment that they selling. No, we used to learn that in the street all the time, man. Nigga always tell you quality over quantity because them niggas used to want them big old rocks. But they would be water. You come with this little old rock, that junk straight base. This shit gonna be high for days. Nigga take that bigger rock that ain't even, that's whipped up. They ain't got nothing in it. Cause he looked at it, it's more. You know what I'm talking about? It's more. People want that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with getting a deal, but when you talking about getting the mate, you don't want no deal on that. I just seen a young woman say she 23 years old, been married twice. I'm like, how do you get married twice by 23? At 23, I ain't even think I met nobody I can even consider married at 23. Like, seriously, see, you might have somebody be like, I would marry her. But you talking about seriously considering to the point to go do it? Twice? Shoot. She better than me. I feel sorry for her soul. Now she can't marry nobody. That nigga scarred. That nigga scarred. You know, Israelite people don't like to hear stuff like that. I can't get married again? You can. You know, I can't tell you what you can't do. You can do whatever you want to do. Now the consequences you receive for doing it is a whole nother conversation. Boy, I had somebody to tell me recently that the dude that married her knew that they couldn't be married because one of them had been married before, and he did it anyway, saying that they were Christians, so it didn't apply to them. And he was an Israelite who knew it. But as a just man, if you know that, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to suffer sin. See, that's different than immersing somebody. I am not going to participate in this ceremony. Because at this point, I just condoned your sin. Because it's different if you didn't know. You knew? Oh, you a wicked nigga. You a wicked nigga. Because you ain't even had the common courtesy to tell them, y'all know y'all can't do this, right? Y'all know this not just, right? Because you've been married. So therefore, I cannot marry you. You can find somebody else to do it, but I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Niggas get upset with that. If you don't agree with something, you ain't telling the person, you can't do this. You just saying, I'm not participating because I don't agree with it. So I don't want to be the seed to be condoning something that I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to marry two punks. So why am I going to marry two people who've been married before, or one person who's been married and I know this? I don't agree with it. I don't condone it. I'm not going to participate. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to a Christmas party. I don't agree with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not condoning this. I don't agree with it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not going to no Easter egg hunt. I wouldn't go to no Easter egg hunt without the word, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm talking about? Because I refuse. I wouldn't even take my children out there to roll no eggs across the ground. This don't even seem normal or right. You got a whole bunch of black people out here rolling eggs on the ground. Where did you learn this from? And why are you doing it? You know what I'm saying? We just do anything white people do. Don't even ask no questions. Sound like Malia took a tumble. Where we at? Oh, well, we good in the book of Acts. So let's look at the difference between the quick and the dead. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4. And also the key point 2 in verse 42. What did he say he commanded them to speak of? He said he commanded them to testify of he which was ordained. That means they were commanded to preach Yahushua. They weren't commanded to preach the law. Meaning that when we out here preaching, we preach Mashiach first. Not that we won't ever teach. Because, niggas like to make stuff so absolute. Like you can't do both. You don't lead with the law. You bring the law in after you win them to Mashiach. Because winning them to Mashiach will what? Matter of fact, if you preach the law properly, you be preaching Mashiach. Truth be told. But that's neither here nor there. He's saying, I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Remember, he said judgment was given unto them. He's judging the quick and the dead. 24. And I saw the souls of them beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. Let me ask y'all a question. How many people that we ever read in the law that were killed for keeping the law? From Genesis to Malachi, how many people have we ever seen killed for keeping the law? Versus, how many people have you seen killed for witnessing of Yahuwah? We ain't talking about Matthew to Revelation. From Genesis to Malachi, how many people did you see were killed for keeping the law? Versus, how many people you seen killed for witnessing of Yahuwah? The question is how many people have you seen in the text that were actually killed for keeping the law? How many people have you seen in the text that were killed for bearing witness of Yahuwah? Because the reason why I'm asking this question, because it said these people were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
So let's deal with the first question. How many people have you ever read from Genesis to Malachi that were killed for keeping the law?
None.
Go ahead, sir.
Commandments, but not law.
And keep it.
Who? Abel wasn't even killed for keeping the law. Abel was killed because he was righteous and his brother wasn't.
So what the Levites count for Jezebel?
They were killed. They were killed. Those were prophets, so they were bearing witness. That's why she killed them.
Killed
I
by
thought they were
priests.
priests.
Killed by other people.
Like you had people like this, like killed by other people. Somebody kept a Sabbath and I killed you for it. Or you didn't eat pork, and you can read stuff like that in the Apocrypha about during the time of Maccabees when Antiochus was killing people for keeping the Sabbath and killing people for not eating pork. But remember, when Cain came up to kill Abel, it's because they made an offering and Abel's offering was accepted. But that was an offering that was made by faith when we look at what's written in Hebrews chapter 11.
I mean, when Uriah came, when he
Uriah was killed because the nigga wanted his wife.
Yeah, but I mean, you know that. You put him on the front line, but he went and do what he was supposed to do, like go to the house, like, okay, well, I guess.
Well, no, but that wasn't because of the law. That was because of his loyalty that I'm not going to depart from my master. You know what I'm saying? But for actual of the 613 instructions, who can we read that were killed for keeping one of them 600 directly for keeping that instruction? You know what I'm saying? But who can you think of that was killed for bearing witness to Yahuwah or because of their faith in Yahuwah? No, I'm talking about Genesis to Malachi.
Oh, John.
Genesis to Malachi.
All the prophets.
Because remember the prophets were teaching law.
All the prophets.
They were witnessing of Yahuwah. Remember the testimony of Yahushua is the Ruach of prophecy. If you speak of Yahushua, you witnessing of him. Remember that we just read the reason because going what we read in Acts 10. He said, and we are his witnesses, and he sent us to testify of what we bear witness to. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. We go Zechariah in 2 Chronicles 20. He was stoned for bearing witness to the truth. You know what I'm saying? Samson was what? Samson was killed not for keeping the law, but for troubling the Philistines to deliver Israel. So they wanted to kill him. But he wasn't killed because he was keeping the laws. The only thing that you'll come close to which he wasn't able to execute it, you know what I'm talking about? Is really two of them. Is that they wanted to kill Daniel. They said the only way we could get at him is through their law, but they didn't kill him though. They tried to kill him, but guess what though? What did he get locked up for? He didn't get locked up for keeping the law. He got locked up for praying to Yah, which means that was his faith in Yah. Because you don't pray to somebody you don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, they wanted to kill Joseph, but then they changed their mind. And then you got Hananiah, Mishael, and them. And the third one, his name escapes me at this moment.
Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael.
Yeah, his name escapes me right now. Yeah, you can hit. I just try not to use their Babylonian names. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if we say Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, everybody know who that is. That'll make a nigga who don't know who that is go read that story then. Plus, you know, hey, I don't want to make mention of another God, because that's why he gave them names. So I try to avoid that whenever possible. But at the end of the day, they were asked to commit idolatry. But when they stepped to him, they made it be known that my faith in Yahuwah would preclude me from doing this. Especially when he said, we're careful to answer you in this matter. But even still, we know they didn't die. You know what I'm saying? But also, that was a test of the day. How many niggas can sit there and see a furnace burn and be like, no, cuz, you're going to have to do what you got to do. The average nigga would be like, shoot, blow that flute again? Shoot, I'll blow it for you. I'm for real, though. But that's when your faith get tested, when you looking at real death right in your face. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how much you love him now. Let's see, you know what I'm saying? Because see, the instance of it, that was more than I don't want to commit idolatry. I love this man with the whole heart, the whole mind, and the whole soul. Was tie you back to Revelation chapter 12, that they love not their own lives even unto the death. Those three men didn't love their life that to the point to where they were looking to save it, which is still a manifestation of their faith in Yahuwah. Because the law is not going to move a nigga to do that. Because that's an instruction. But to literally offer up your life, you have to believe in the person you sacrificing your life for. You ain't sacrificing your life for a command. Because then if you were to be resurrected from the dead, you gotta save me. See, I didn't see the key word that coming out your mouth is I, never him. So you giving the praise unto yourself and not to him. You ain't seen them three men offer praise to nothing. They say, we are careful to answer you in this matter. Our Elohim is able to save us from this, and if not, he ain't gonna do it. And then the other one was with Haman, but he didn't even get to kill nobody. And he didn't want to kill us because we were keeping the laws. He just was hating. He just made the mention of it. Their laws are different from ours. They don't do what we do. We need to kill them niggas. Will there be a time coming where these people will come size you about these laws, but when you look in the Revelation where it talk about it, like it mentioned that there, that the serpent came to make war with the remnant of our seed. Those who have seen the head be impaled because they keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahushua. But it's really that faith they coming to kill you for, because you bearing witness to somebody who's going to be contrary to what's being promoted in the earth. Because at that time you got a man saying he God and you standing out there saying he ain't. And somebody else is. So therefore you will be keeping the commandment of Elohim because he commanded you to believe on him whom he have sent, according to what Deuteronomy 18 said. Which means you keeping the commandment of faith which has been established, and they're going to kill you for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't mentioning Yahushua, I don't think that man going to care nothing about you keeping no Sabbath. That's not a threat to his rule or his reign. I don't care what you're doing. You standing up saying, no, this man is the king of the whole earth. This man is the son of Elohim. This man is Elohim. And he's coming to kill you and to take rule over everything. That's going to cause a problem. That's going to cause a problem. And everybody ain't willing to die for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to shit, because that law, come on, that law ain't stopping niggas from sinning, so you think it's gonna cause a nigga to save his life? Because if the law got that much power, a nigga would read it and not sin. Well, shoot, boy, I ain't gonna do that, boy. Law say not to do it. Your faith got to cause you not to do that. Without faith, you have nothing, because Yah cannot fill you at that point. Can the law give you the Ruach? No, it cannot. Can't read nobody in this book that ever got the Ruach by the law. Did the Ruach fall upon David because of the law or because of his faith? Did the Ruach fall upon Samson because of the law or because of the promise of faith that was made to his parents? You know what I'm saying? There's many others. Did that Ruach fall on Haggai to prophesy because of the law or because of his faith? All the priests were wicked at that time and wasn't believing, save Haggai and Yahushua, son of Jehozadak. But niggas don't look at that, because that doesn't make them. That law give you that puffed up sense that you a real good dude. How many niggas I can say this personally. I seen a lot of dudes push that law, and they're not very agreeable people. Not many of them. And they definitely not just, and they definitely not faithful. A lot of them niggas is wicked. Nigga who always coming at you with that law, you find out that nigga was doing some real wicked stuff. Not just for something you may not agree with, like this nigga wicked. They got plots and schemes. You know what I'm talking about? We seen a nigga who was pushing the law, this nigga having orgies. You know what I'm saying? Swapping wives. Niggas murking niggas. Y'all should be familiar with the story of the dude who was pushing the law and killed that lady's son because he thought he was gay. This nigga was 5 years old. He might have had a little femininity in him. Shoot, just man him up. I don't think he think about, you know what I'm talking about, taking it that far and getting intimate with a man at 5 years old. Cuz killed him, and guess what his old lady did? Help him bury the body. And they preach the law every day. Help him bury the body. Kill a 5-year-old boy, he was gay. And you know the first thing a nigga scream, he got the spirit of gayness on him. Ain't no spirit on none of these niggas, man. You just wicked. Your heart sound. A lot of niggas, y'all know familiar with that nigga say, I got the spirit of lust on me. You got no spirit of lust on you. You just lustful. Check yourself. Don't try to blame it on another entity while you can't control yourself. I got the spirit of drunkenness on me. No, nigga, you were drunk. You know what I'm saying? So you think it's multiple spirits around here? I'm a drunk spirit. I'm going to rest on Stanley and make him be drunk. No, nigga, you like to drink alcohol. Do you know what I'm saying? He got the spirit of adultery on him. What? So he got a spirit of disloyalty on him? So who going to be judged? That spirit or that person? Because when you see evil spirits on people, those spirits tormented these people. When you read about an unclean spirit being on somebody, it tormented this person. It didn't cause them to sin. When that evil spirit fell on the prophets of Ahab, did it cause them to sin, or did it cause them to speak the word that Ahab wanted to hear? When that evil spirit was on Saul, was it troubling Saul, or was it causing Saul to be the idiot that he was?
What do you mean when the master gave that parable when the spirit leave a man and he comes?
He was saying that if an unclean spirit leave a man, he's saying you swept and garnished. His point of that parable was, if you wicked, just what he talking about Ezekiel 33 and Ezekiel 18, and you get right, and then you go back to wickedness, your state gonna be worse at the latter end than it was at the beginning, because truly the proverb having been spoken that a dog has returned to his vomit. So you're gonna be 3 times as wicked as you was before you knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying? That was his point. That's why he put it in that fashion. And Ezekiel 33 and Ezekiel 18 talk about that. If a man turn away from his righteousness and engage in sin, he will die in his sin. You know what I'm saying? And most people who we see that, most of them ain't never turned to righteousness for that to even to apply to them in the first place, because they never stopped sinning. Do you know what I'm saying? So most niggas that don't even apply to. Cause most niggas think I don't eat pork and I keep the Sabbath. Well, nigga, you wasn't righteous, cause you was still stealing, or you was still fornicating, or you was still lusting, or you was still doing this here. So you never stopped. Now, if a nigga stopped and went back, see, if you went back but you were still sinning here and there, you just were just fulfilling your complete nature anyway. But if you had stopped completely and went back, that's rough. But a lot of times, some people do stop sinning to a certain extent, but their faith never was right, so they were still in sin in the first place because they had an evil heart of unbelief. So you never came. That's why the book says it's impossible if somebody has partook of the Ruach HaKodesh to turn back into perdition. Ain't no way in the world you got this man word in you and you can go back. You couldn't convince me that a nigga, I was a sinner, I got converted, and I went back. You can't convince me of that. A full conversion? You couldn't convince me of that. Ain't nowhere in the world. The desire to commit sin wouldn't even be there. It wouldn't even be there. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even gonna be there. How I say, man, nigga die today, you better not be like, I hope to see you again. You just told a nigga I hope to be in hell. I don't hope to see you again. I don't want to see you again. Nobody that I know that has died from this point forward, I don't want to see any of them again. Ever. Period. I had my time with you, and it's unfortunate that I won't see you again. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to see you again. At all. In no shape, form, or fashion, because that means I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? Only person I want to see is Yahusha, and then after one day to see his Abba. That's it. I want to see Abraham. You think Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? You think Jacob right here talking about I can't wait to see Laban again? You know what I'm saying? You think he's saying that? You think I mean, let's just be honest. You think any righteous man in this book would sit back talking about I can't wait to see a sinner again? I can't wait to see you in hell. I know that hurt because you think about the people you love who passed on. But do you love them more than you love Yah? That's the question. That's why these questions are posed. Because who do you love more? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got love for my daddy. I don't want to see that nigga again, though. I got homeboys that passed. I had a lot of love for them niggas. I don't want to see them again. Because that means I'm in fire and worms. Because if that's the point, if I want to see him again, shoot, I need to go hit the weed man up then. Go get me a Dutch. You know what I'm talking about? And do what I do and live how I want to live. If I'm that concerned to see them again, niggas say rest in heaven, watch over me. It's hard for you to watch over you when he in a casket. He sleep. He can't see nothing. Shoot, because if he wasn't asleep, let me out of here before I be asleep. Like it's over. It's over. You know, you shared it. I like said, there's no repentance in the grave. It's over. If you wasn't right when you hit that grave, you're done. It's over with. I don't care who they are to you. I don't care if it was your mama, sister, daddy, brother, uncle, cousin, auntie, best friend, homeboy, grandma, granddaddy. If they hit that grave and they ain't had that ruach in them, they're done. If any one of us in this room hit that grave and that ruach ain't in us, we're done. I don't care how many Sabbaths you kept. I don't care how long you ain't go without no pork. If you don't believe in this man that the scripture have said and live the sanctified, clean life to the receiving of the ruach, you're not getting in. You're done. You know what I'm saying? You're done. So that would have sit back and look at, I need to attain the gift of Elohim at all costs. At all costs. That should change the nigga perspective. But it don't for the most part. Verse 4 though. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of Elohim. So you see the difference. That's when the law come in at. You know what I'm talking about? It's the witness of Yahushua that's going to cause their ire. Then it's the law. Because what caused their ire with Yahushua? It wasn't just his keeping of the law. It was the words that he spoke that they had a problem with. And which had not worshipped the image of the beast, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Baruch and Kadesh is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. They shall be the priest of Elohim and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. The only way you can do that is if you've seen the head impaled. Because then you would have the breath in you that would cause you to get up. Which again, all of this is really springing from, even though we're not referencing it back and forth, it's Exodus 33, what we started from about 3 weeks ago. Because he said, if my presence be with you, then we will have rest. His presence is with these people. That's why they have rest. He said, and if your grace be with us, separate me from all nations. Do you not see the separation? Because this is the grace of the separated seed. They've been quickened. So the right hand has separated them. You know what I'm saying? And they're the Zorah because they saw the head impaled. And they believed. Therefore, they received remission of sins, the receiving of the Ruach HaKadosh, and was... Because if you ain't part of that first resurrection, you're going to hell. Because that means now you got to stand in front of this man, and he got to open the books, and your name ain't going to be found in the Lamb's book of life, and he going to cast you into that lake, where the worm dies not, and the fire shall not be quenched. Because I guarantee you, if your faith is strong, you won't transgress this man's word in a single solitary spot. If the thought popped in your head, you will resist it. You know what I'm saying? Because your faith, that's what faith do. The law don't produce that type of faith. Because if it did, none of our ancestors would have transgressed it. Period. Because see, the time come in at where the faith of Elohim needs to be promoted versus the law of Elohim in public. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're going to teach people the law. How is she going to know to be Kadesh? I mean, come on, that's common sense. That's common sense. But see, niggas are so retarded and stupid that they think you can't have both of them. That if you preach faith, you throw the law away. You know what I'm saying? You got to have both. You're not throwing the law away because you put emphasis on the one aspect of it that is greater than the other. Because if you have the greater one, it's going to produce the lesser one. You can't tell me you believe in something and then you don't walk in what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't believe in that. That's why niggas cheat on their wife or their husband. You didn't really believe that that was a good person for you. Because if you did, you wouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have that type of disloyalty in something that you believe is fruitful and profitable for the both of you. You don't do that. You can't convince me of that. You didn't really believe in it. You did it. Most people get married out of convenience. You know what I'm saying? It's not a belief that, cause I told you marriage is a business arrangement. If you believe in the arrangement, then you're going to do everything to watch that arrangement prosper. So if you believe that the covenant or the arrangement that Elohim has with his people is beneficial, then you're going to do what is necessary to prosper that arrangement, that esteem falls on his head. We don't do that because we don't believe in it. You know what I'm saying? You don't believe in your wife and to go sleep with another woman. How you do that? You believe in your husband. I felt like this, so I went and entertained another man. No, you're a harlot. You know what I'm saying? You're a harlot. You're a whore. And he is a whoremonger. The reason why I use that analogy, because that's what we did as a people. We were a whore or a whoremonger. Because we were seeking after other gods, because we didn't believe in the union that we were a part of. Because if we believed in the union that we were a part of, we would have been seeking Baal. We wouldn't have made a golden calf. We wouldn't have cared about Tammuz. We wouldn't have cared about Moloch. We wouldn't have wanted the abominations of the Zidonians. We wouldn't have wanted Milcom. We wouldn't have desired any of that. You know what I'm saying? If you look at somebody who ain't never cheated on their wife in their lifetime, because you know how I feel about nigga cheat on their wife. You disloyal. And if you disloyal, you're not trustworthy. And if you're not trustworthy, you're not an individual that I want any dealings with. Because if you betray your wife, who you won't betray? You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it on. If you can betray the person you lay next to every day, there's nobody on this earth you wouldn't betray. I know you betray your God then. So which means I know you'll betray me. I want nothing to do with you. See, but we don't look at that because we condone sucker moves that niggas do in various, I'm talking about in very apparent character flaws. Not personality flaws, character flaws. Because you can feel like somebody's personality is flawed, meaning you just don't like it. Character flaws are something totally different. Because this makes up who they are and what they're about. You know what I'm saying? And we condone character flaws. I don't condone character flaws. Keep that sucker stuff away from me. I don't condone that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas slip up and commit sin all the time. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a character flaw. You know what I'm saying? But then of course people say I accidentally slept with her. I accidentally stole. I done heard niggas say they accidentally stole. How you accidentally pick up something that don't belong to you? You knew that wasn't your car, but yet you got in it and drove off in it. You knew them wasn't your clothes, but you picked them up and left with it. See, you know how you accidentally take something that's not yours? You picked up the wrong pen by mistake. Y'all got similar phones and you grabbed that phone because you thought it was yours. You know what I'm saying? You don't accidentally steal because stealing takes on premeditation. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, where we got to go at?
Put something in the bag and self-checkout. Did you take it back?
He said he did what at the self-checkout?
Accidentally put something in the grocery bag.
That would be an accident.
But
Because
you don't take it back.
now what you realize, because see that's the thing where I didn't realize I grabbed this. You see what I'm saying? But when I'm talking about accidentally stealing is a premeditated act. You know what I'm saying? That's a premeditated act. You had to think about that before you did it. You know what I'm saying? Just like the people, it's like this here, right? Somebody accidentally give you too much change. Some people say, is you going to take it back? Sometimes you don't realize it at that point. Shoot, it's too late.
So what about I was at Chipotle and the lady didn't bring me up an extra chicken. And I was like, oh, you know you didn't charge me.
Shoot, I just went somewhere to get something to eat. Nigga ain't put all my food in the bag. And if I would have realized to say to get up to go say, let me go get my rest of my food, I'd have realized my keys was in the car. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but she didn't charge me. And he was like, why did you mention it? That's your fault. But I'm like, I feel bad.
I mean, that's you. That is an error on her fault. And if you want to let it be known, the just thing to do is say, hey, you didn't charge me. If she say, what? If, oh, well, it's straight, you good, then hey, your conscience is clear. I mean, the just thing to do is if you catch it, is to say, hey, you didn't charge me for this. That is the just thing to do. I mean, me myself, I would have said something like, hey, you ain't charged me for this. Because I've done it before. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you ain't charged me for this right here. You know what I'm saying? This, that, there, and the third. Number one, the main reason is, too, on top of that, I don't want no sinner saying they did anything for me or had any reason to open their mouth and say something. Period. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to give these people a chance to, especially if a nigga in the face. Because you know black people love to throw stuff in your face. You know what I'm saying? Nigga love to tell you, that's why I did this here for you. Well, nigga, take it back then. That's what you do. Matter of fact, I ain't even finna ask you for it. For real, niggas throw something in your face real quick. You know what I'm saying? Real quick. And guess what? And the minute I say that, and that's what we doing when we scream, we keeping the law, because we throwing that in y'all's face. Instead of feeling like, look what you did for me, we looking at, look what I did for you. You ain't do that for me. But look, come on, let's look at another aspect of that seed. Children, you're entirely too loud. Entirely too loud. I don't want to hear your voice, please. Quiet. Genesis 24 and 57. Yes, ma'am. He said with a shoe. God. $24 and 57. Where am I at, man? All right, cool. And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, wilt thou go with this man? She said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah their sister and her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men. And they baruched Rebekah and said unto her, thou art our sister and the mother of thousands of millions. And let thy seed possess the gate of those which hate them. Now we gotta ask a question, right? If the seed is who? No, I'm talking about as forth as what to think about the seed. Yeah, definitely Isaac's seed. But think about what seed means, right? It's the seed is what? Those who have seen Mashiach impaled. So let's come back and let's look at Galatians 3, and then we'll come back right back to Genesis chapter 25. Because remember, he said, I'm going to make this covenant with you and your seed after you, that my ruach and these words will always be in your mouth. Now, we already read how Isaac got the birthright, correct? Let's look at Galatians chapter 3. Pick it up about verse 16. Now to Abraham in his seed were the promises made. Is Isaac Abraham's seed? And Rebekah was finna get ready to do what? Marry Isaac, and what we just read. And those people asked for Yah to do what? To allow her. She didn't even have a seed that anyone hated them yet. And they were asking her, they were praying that her seed possessed the gate or the door or the city of those that hate them. There was nobody who hated Isaac's seed at that point. But guess what? When we get to his seed being born, how many children did Isaac have? He only had two. He only had two. You know what I'm saying? He only had two. He only had two. And who was those two? No, Ishmael is Abraham's son. Jacob and Esau.
That's his brother.
Yeah, that's his brother. You know how black people feel? We don't believe in half brothers. You know, that's white people stuff. When they go talking about that's my half sister. Nigga, that's my sister. All that half stuff you talking about, we don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? White people kill me with that. He's the half brother. Hi, I'm half of a nigga brother. Half of what? Cause we ain't got the same mama. Still my dad. Still my brother. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never look at mother and say that's my half sister. You know what I'm saying? That's white people stuff. So, that just be fun because how you say that, it'd be like, is that so you don't love them or something? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they do that for that you married in.
No, I've actually heard them say that about people who they don't share the same parents. Because that's what that means when they say half sister or half brother. You don't share the same parents. Even in our text, I don't even think in our culture they even use this term stepfather, stepchild, or none of that. That was just your people, regardless of how it came about. Yeah, scripture-wise, I don't think they use that terminology. Stepfather or stepbrother, because you know it wasn't too many times that people were getting married and divorced and being remarried, though it did occur. Because I guarantee you, somebody who got divorced and married somebody else, and they probably had kids already. They say, into thy seed, which is Mashiach. Listen what he say, right? And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of Elohim in Mashiach, the Torah, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. Remember, that covenant is where Abraham, that Mashiach, would even come. That's long before you even went into Egypt. So what happened when you made that covenant which you aforeforth giving you the law in Egypt does not disannul the promise that was made to Abraham before time. He say, for the inheritance be of the Torah, it is no more a promise, but Elohim gave it to Abraham by promise. Wherefore then served the law. It was added because of transgressions. Listen what he said. Till the seed should come to whom the promise was made, and it was ordained by Malachim in the hand of a mediator. So what is he speaking of? Is that it came by order of Malachim by way of a mediator. Who is the mediator that he's referring to in this verse? The mediator is Moses. You know what I'm saying? The promise was made and it was ordained by Malachim, or was appointed by Malachim to give to Moses to give to the people. No, the law itself. Listen what he said in verse 20. Now a mediator is not a mediator of one, but Elohim is one. Is the Torah then against the promise of Elohim? Elohim forbid. For if there had been a Torah given, which could have given life, truly righteousness should have been by the law. See, again, this is taking the fact that we're looking at Khan and with grace, which is the acceptance or the favor, and the seed, and Kaya. Kaya is the hand that's separated. That don't come from the law. What separated you coming out of Egypt? Faith separated you, not the law. The law did not do that because they didn't have a law. What law separated Abraham? It was the faith of Abraham. There was no law that he had. We're talking about the promise of Genesis 12. He didn't have no law at that point. Nevertheless, he said, but the scripture have concluded, all understand that the promise of by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach might be given to them that believe. What is that promise? Pause. Let's look in Acts chapter 2 and let's see what that promise is. Acts chapter 2, verse 37. I'm going to ask y'all a question. When Peter was preaching to these people during the day of Pentecost, did he preach Yahushua or did he preach the law? And let's see what made these people upset. Now when they heard this, they were pricked in their heart and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles, men and brethren, what shall we do? Now remember, what was he preaching to them? He was preaching to them that they killed Yahushua and that he rose from the dead. This is what they were. They weren't pricked in the heart. You eat pork. They didn't have to be pricked in the heart behind any of that. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be immersed every one of you in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach for the remission of sins, and you shall receive the gift of the Ruach HaKadosh. For the promise is unto you and to your children and to all that are afar off, even as many as you who your Elohim shall call. So what is the promise then? It's the Ruach, is it not? Is that not the same promise we read in Isaiah 59, 20 and 21? Because Isaiah 59, 20 and 21 say all them came to the Redeemer and repented of their sins, and he gave them a gift. He made a covenant with them, and that covenant was able to give them life. Can we read anywhere in the giving of the covenant of Moses where that gave them life? It did not give them that. So when we look at the acceptance of the sacrifice of Mashiach is able to make us this set apart seed like Abraham was, or like Isaac was, which is the seed of the promise. Come on back to Galatians though. He say, but before faith came, this is verse 23, we were kept under the Torah, shut up unto the faith which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the Torah was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Mashiach, that we might be justified by faith. And remember what we see, what we mentioned what Torah meant? You know what I'm saying? It's to see the head impaled. And how many places have we looked at from Genesis to Deuteronomy where we seen the head being impaled? The bearing witness of the faith that was shut up. Now it's being open and revealed for a man to deliver his soul from death. Because can your sins be remitted by the law? No. Absolutely not, they can't. But see, Hebrews don't want to hear that. So I can say, man, I was talking to a brother and he said that people said these things, like having respect to persons and feeling like, oh, I keep the law. You know how many Hebrews feel like you'll get the ruach from keeping the law, even though the books say different? The books say different. But a nigga feel like as long as I keep the law, I'm straight. But you're not straight. You know how many niggas gonna be shocked when they burn it in hell and be like, but I kept the law. But you didn't believe in me though. Because he said, believe on me whom I have sent. He said, whosoever believe on me in the words that I say, I will raise them up at the last day. That's what he said. So you would actually have violated the law because you did not take heed to Deuteronomy 18 and 18. A nigga can say, that's not Jesus, that's not Yahushua, or whatever you call it. Well, who it is then? Because if you don't believe in that person, you going to hell. So it can't apply to Yahushua, son of Nun, because then that precept is null and void for us. You know what I'm saying? That precept doesn't matter for us then. Because he been dead. And what did he do? Was he a prophet like unto Moses? Can anybody think of how Yahushua, son of Nun, was a prophet like unto Moses? Did he receive the law straight from Yah's mouth? No. Did he lead the people out of bondage? No. Was he a judge? Yes, he was. You know what I'm saying? Was he a mediator? No. He was not a mediator. You know what I'm saying? He just was the head of the people, but he wasn't a mediator. You know what I'm saying? So you sit back and look at that. Was he a king? No. Because you can read in Deuteronomy 34 that Moses is referred to as a king. You know what I'm saying? So he don't fit that qualification. He didn't establish any covenant. Moses established a covenant. That's what that's the biggest point about being a prophet like unto Moses. You got to establish a covenant. You have to be the mediator of a covenant with blood. Niggas say, y'all don't need no blood. It's funny how dudes pick and choose the parts of the law that fit them the best. You tell a nigga to keep the Sabbath, but you don't need no law for blood for remission of sins. But who am I? I don't know nothing. Nevertheless. But after that faith has come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster. I mean, you're no longer under the tutelage and bondage of the law because the faith has said, see how that John 8 and 30 makes sense now? The truth shall make you free. The faith has set you free from that schoolmaster. It's no longer needed for you. Because remember what he said in Galatians. There is no, those that are in Mashiach, there is no law. It's forth as referring because what? Joy, peace, shalom, long suffering, faith, gentleness, goodness. There's no law against any of those things. You know what I'm saying? Because now the law is in, if the Ruach is in you, how is the law not in you? This is common sense. If the essence of Elohim is in you, then how is his law not contained in that essence? That's how we know the people in church be tripping. And people really think the power of Elohim is about a nigga flopping around like a dead fish in the middle of the floor. You know what I'm saying? And Israelites think the Ruach of Elohim is, I'm a prophet of Yah. Because you reading words off a page. That doesn't mean his Ruach is inside of you. Because you can read some words off a page, nigga. I done seen niggas say, I got the Ruach in me because I keep these laws. The Ruach moved me to do this. How, nigga? You don't even know the Savior. Which means you don't know the Father. See, we mentioned you don't know the Savior because that's the only way you can know the Father. Period. You don't even know Yah. So you don't make sense. Because the law doesn't cause you to know Yah. Because your ancestors knew the law and Yahushua still told them, Kadesh Father, they have not known thee. They still didn't know him. Yah himself said that. You oppress the poor and needy. Is it not to know me? He said judgment and goodness is the things that I delight in. If they knew him, why did he have to tell them these things? These people felt like they were delivered to worship idol gods in the house of Elohim. Nevertheless. For you are all the children of Elohim by faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. For as many as you have been immersed in Mashiach have put on Mashiach. There is neither Yahudim. Notice how he said many have been what? Immersed in Mashiach. What have they done? Put on Mashiach. That's what. There is neither Yahudim nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For you are all one in Yahushua HaMashiach. If you be Mashiachs, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So you keeping the law don't make you Abraham's seed. How do we know this? Let's look at John 8 and 39 before we go to Genesis 25. What did John the Baptist tell the scribes about Abraham's seed?
Yeah, I can raise up.
He can raise children up out of stones. He said, don't you come around here talking about you Abraham's seed, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can always tell a wicked nigga because that's the first thing they like to scream. I'm Abraham's seed. And you don't live like him. Now let's look at verse 36 first, though. You don't want to tell you, oh, wild man, wicked bastard Jew. If the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. I know that ye are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me, because my word have no place in you. Guess what? Was not, and she mentioned it, as the humor says it was not Ishmael Abraham's seed? Yet that word had no place in Ishmael. It's not Midian Abraham's seed, but that word had no place in Midian. So you throwing that which seed, nigga? Because it's seeds of many, but seed of one. So which seed you come from, nigga? Abraham had a lot of seeds, but he only got one seed, because in Isaac shall thy seed be called. So it's only in Isaac, only in those of the promise. And the reason why I mentioned that when he said people who were chosen aforetime in Acts chapter 10 to bear witness to this. See, his members that were written in the book were already chosen to be able to see the head that would be impaled. And see, seeing the head being impaled is just not be like, I can see him in the scripture. Seeing the head being impaled is to live it. To believe it and live it. Because he said all those that are Mashiachs have crucified their affections and lusts. I mean, you impaled yourself just like he impaled himself. So if you haven't impaled yourself, because he volunteered, he said, no man take my life, I lay it down of myself. Nobody's taking your life. Nobody forced you to get immersed. You were saying, I'm going to lay my life down of myself. Because my Father has given me a commandment to lay my life down. Except I'm not the one that can pick my life up. So you volunteer. He want people who voluntarily. That was a free will offering. You did that upon your own free will. I offer myself willingly. As he told Solomon in Chronicles. Niggas ain't doing this willingly. Niggas doing this for mates, for esteem, for camaraderie. Fellowship is good, right? But if fellowship is all you concerned with over salvation, that is a problem. And I just say that as somebody who was dolo in the word for a long time. No, I'm talking about nobody round. Like people who was in it, they were halfway. But for a long time, it wasn't nobody but me, Muffin, and Nell, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? And we would have been around each other anyway. So that don't even count. Because word or no word, I'd have still been around Muffin. Nell was my cousin's best friend, so we'd been affiliated regardless. And when I met Nell, I wasn't even on no word. And neither was she, other than riding around listening to Nathaniel 7 in her car, but she wasn't living it. And Lil Muffin definitely wasn't thinking about none of that. She was living her life. She just turned, 2009? She had just turned 18 years old. You think she was thinking about Yahuwah in March, April 2009? Absolutely not. I'm going to get ready to graduate from Terry Parker. I'm going to get ready to adventure and enjoy life. I am a child. So we would have been around each other regardless. And we were, because I wasn't on no word when I got out of prison. But you know what niggas sitting back looking at? I want people to be around, which is good. But you ain't see Elijah crying about no fellowship. You got Yah. That's all the fellowship you need. If he add anybody unto it, praise be the Lamb. If not, you going to stop serving Yah because you ain't got nobody to talk to? Because you ain't got nobody to run with? And then most of the time, niggas don't even want to be accompanied with people who fear his name. We pretty much like to be around hypocrites and niggas who pump faking. Just as long as they know Yah and they can hold a decent conversation. When I say know Yah, know his name. His name is Yahuwah. That's all you know. Yahuwah. You know, niggas be big on that. How many Hebrews you see get so excited when somebody, they know the true name. But do they know a true life? Nevertheless. I speak that which I've seen with my father, and you do that which you've seen with your father. They answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahushua saith unto Abraham, unto them, if you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. What was the work of Abraham? Period. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I heard of Elohim. This did not Abraham? You do the deeds of your father. They said to him, we be not born of fornication. We have one father, even Elohim. Yahushua said unto them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I proceed forth and came from Elohim. Neither came I of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. You are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speak a lie, he speak of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Which of you convince me of a sin? And if I say the truth, why do you not believe me? He that is of Elohim hears Elohim's words. You therefore hear them not, because you are not of Elohim. This man has just made a distinction that there are two separate seeds. Even though you are the seed of Abraham, there are two separate seeds. And he let that be known that there's a seed of Elohim and there's a seed of the serpent. You know what I'm saying? But look at the key thing that he told him. He said, the lust of your father you will do. So when we go to Esau, we're going to have to look and see if Esau did the lust of his father. Let's see if he did the lust of his father. Genesis chapter 25. And again, this is taking us back to that grace, that separated seed. All of this is stemming from, and which of course, because we're not directly going back to Exodus 33, you know, this is just a continuing on from 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just taking all the things that we done talked about, because we still got to bring the prisoners back around. You know what I'm talking about? And locking them all in, because you remember the prisoner is the asar, or he that is supported by the head. That support comes through faith. That's what prop you up. The faith cannot be ignored. Faith is only ignored by the faithless. Because you know what I'm saying? I done had people, I tell this nigga all the time, I'm like, I can pretty much tell if a nigga believe or not. It's only by their behavior though. You know what I'm saying? Meaning I can tell that this ain't what they really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got faith, you endure anything. Like if you have faith in your, just to use that same terminology, if you have faith in your marriage, you will endure all the pitfalls and troubles that may happen during your marriage because you believe in it. You have faith in it. If you don't believe, why do you think so many people get divorced or get divorced so quickly? Because they never had faith in that marriage anyway. You know, back in the day, people ain't get divorced like that. They might have been unhappy, but they're going to stay together 50, 60 years. Or they would take the time to say, you know what, you ain't going nowhere, we finna work this out. And that's what Yahuwah did with Yasharal before he put us out the house. We're going to try to work this out before I put you out. We're going to try to work this out. See, at the first sign of trouble, most people run. And they try to, because like I told you, most people scream, I'm not happy. As if the whole world is based upon your happiness. What are you going to try to do to fix that first before you try to run to something else? Because you might, because how the adversary roll, he'll give you your happiness, but you're going to lose Elohim in the process because you're not going to be able to get both. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to get both. Because 9 times out of 10, the things that make us happy or cause us to be contrary of this man's word. Because, you know, most people don't want to take on it. You can be happy and serve Elohim, but you got to understand what I'm talking about. Most of the time people scream they ain't happy is because they want something that the word is not allowing them to have. So they go outside to get happy and get it, and in the process they lose Yah. You know what I'm saying? See, you can be happy with Yah, but you may have to wait to get it. And a nigga don't want to wait. Because I see happiness right here. And it looks righteous, or I can turn it righteous, and then I'm good. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you, y'all could put a big old bow on somebody's head and a sticker and say, this man is for me and he's for you, and a nigga look at the sinner standing behind him, and vice versa if it's a woman. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if Rebecca would have looked at eyes and say, no, I like that sinner over there. He looks appealing. You know what I'm saying? We don't really look at it in that aspect because we wouldn't identify if y'all put somebody in our path for you. Because we don't want what Yah put in us. And I'm using that to reference Mashiach. He put Mashiach in the path for us. And we didn't want that. We wanted that sinner standing behind him. You know what I'm saying? Let me get that Pharisee back there. Let me get that scribe over there. I like that one. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Barabbas. Absolutely. Let me get that sinner that's next to him because that sinner look appealing. Yeah, him too. Let me get the sinner. They couldn't. That's how most people end up losing. Cause I remember somebody asked me, so y'all put people together. The book say what Elohim ordained, let no man split asunder. So if a nigga don't think Yah appoints people to be together, they smoking rocks. You know what I'm saying? Is that in every instance? No, it don't got to be in every instance. You know what I'm talking about? But the majority of the time, Yah put people together. So remember how we read that our desires be according to his will? I seen somebody say something, and that's real talk. Yah give you enough time on this earth to fulfill the purpose of his will while you on this earth. You know what I'm saying? So then he put people in your pathway for a purpose, for you to be with them to perform his will, and we don't want it. Because we want Barabbas. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to accept the righteousness of Elohim, the cleanness of Elohim. Give me that murderer over there. Because I've seen this personally. That niggas will choose a sinner over a righteous person. I ain't even talking about being with him and no stuff like that. Just will choose a sinner over a righteous person. I've seen it too many times. In this book and in real life. A nigga can see that this nigga wicked and this nigga just, and a nigga will pick the wicked nigga. How many times have you seen niggas make judgments and judge on the side of the wicked person? This nigga's wrong. And guess what a nigga say? Well, you know, you gotta hear you know how this person is, or you know that. I don't know nothing, cause what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I don't care who it is. Nigga, if you wrong, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You got to go with what is just versus your opinion or how you feel. So this is how I know that this is how niggas will do it. You cannot you can't love somebody righteous. I already told you that. That's friend, family, significant other, whatever. Children and all. You can't love them righteous. Because if that's the case, the whole nation of Yasharal would have been righteous. Because y'all certainly tried it. And we certainly rejected it. You know what I'm saying? That love for righteousness has to be in their heart. That got to be in them. And the majority of niggas, it's not in them. You know why it's not in them? Because they're an enemy of all righteousness. Like Peter told Buddy who tried to buy the Ruach. You know what I'm saying? You an enemy of righteousness. So that's what I mentioned last night, which I need to try to get to it, but we running short on time. The death of his Kadeshim is precious, which means these are rare people. Just like a virtuous woman is a rare woman. You know what I'm saying? So if you see one, then you would gravitate to it. You notice the downtrodden and the oppressed and the sinners of our people, they gravitated to Mashiach, and they gravitated to him quickly. You know what I'm saying? They recognized who he was and the value of what he possessed. The wicked ran from him. Because like he said, you got to come to the light to make your deeds be made manifest. But you don't want to come to the light because your works are evil. You know what I'm saying? Because light make manifest. Genesis 25 though. We continuing on because I know I be having a whole gang of stuff in my head and we can't fit it all at one time. Because we just wrote. And remember, just to always keep remembering, just keep back referencing Exodus 33. Because most high willing, by the time we finish with all of this here and we get to Exodus chapter 34 with the renewal of the covenant, we would have seen the whole New Testament in a chapter and a half. Meaning Exodus 33 and Exodus 34. We would have seen the whole New Testament, specifically Matthew to Revelation, in a chapter and a half. Because we would have told the whole story and you'd have been like, dang, it was right there the whole time. Grace was there the whole time. Separated seed was there the whole time. A covenant which could bring forth life was there the whole time. It had already been foretold. And then you can really understand how the law is your schoolmaster. Nevertheless, 25 and what? 19? And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. Isaac entreated Yahuwah for his wife because she was barren. Yahuwah was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahuwah. What precept in the book of Genesis can we put along with the children struggling within her? I narrowed it down. It's in the first 3 chapters. Genesis. It also goes along with what we just read in John 8, right? Say, if you be Abraham's seed, you would love me. But you do the works of your father, the devil. So when we look at Genesis 3 and 15, who do you say there would be enmity between? And the woman's seed. So there's going to be hatred between Esau and Jacob if you want to take it to correlating. You know what I'm saying? Because Esau would be representative of the serpent seed in this story, spiritually. Not saying Esau himself is the serpent. You know what I'm saying? But he would be representative of that because there was hatred between these two brothers. Let's continue on. And Yahuwah said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So if it's 2 nations, it's 2 what? It's 2 seeds. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And what does seed mean? By the separated by the hand. Yahuwah separated these 2 seeds. One of the people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, then we read in Acts chapter 10 where he talked about he was so that he came, that Mashiach came in the power and strength of Elohim. Did we not read in Psalms where he said that I will declare your strength and power to the generations to come? Without Yahuwah, you don't have any. What did Mashiach say? Without me, you can do what? Nothing. So without the Ruach HaKadosh, you don't have no power. Because the kingdom of Elohim is not in meat and drink, but in the Ruach HaKadosh, and with what? Power. This verse also takes us to 1 John 4:4. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Because those who are of Elohim are stronger than the people who are not. A sinner ain't got no power with Elohim. Which takes us back to Yasharal, because what does Yasharal name mean? And how did he get that? Because he got power from Elohim when he wrestled the Malachim. That gave him power to walk with. Obviously, niggas don't want to. All this is faith-based. Ain't no law involved. Ain't no law got nothing to do with any of that, because you don't get no strength from the law. Did David say, Lord, give me strength? Or did he seek strength from Yahuwah? You know what I'm saying? Who gave David strength? A brethren in the word by the name of Jonathan. Who gave Mashiach strength when he was weak? A brethren in the word, which is the Malachim. The reason why I say that, because Revelation tell you, I'm of your brethren, the prophets. Because you got to realize, son, a Malachim is your brother just like somebody in the flesh is. It said, whosoever do the will of Elohim is my sister and my brother. You think that's relegated to just natural people? That's Malachim included. Yahusha included. That nigga's out of there. Look at verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were 2 twins in her womb. Now let's all drop on down to everybody's favorite story. Let's look at verse 28. Everybody's favorite account in the whole story. Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So Isaac loved Esau for only reason being because he ate his deer meat. That's what it say, don't it? But why does Rebekah love Jacob? Not just because of that, because she knew the promise that was given unto her. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember that. We just read it, right? He said 2 manner of people in your womb. One will be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. She pushed him out. She know who came out last. She said, I love the one y'all love. That's who I love. I love the one y'all love. Jacob saw a pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? Oh, drama it out, nigga. Was it that serious, cuz? Was it that serious? I'm finna die. Nigga, you better go eat some leaves, nigga. You ain't that hungry, cuz. You ain't been in the field but a few hours. And Jacob said, swear to me this day, and he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. You know why Esau had to sell that birthright? Because Yahuwah had to try him to make sure you were in agreement with my plan. I had to make sure you ain't want it now. And then he swore, so you swore to Yahuwah you ain't want it. So you know you got to perform your vows, sir. But they'll miss that part, ain't it? If he swore to him, what he swore on? He said, as y'all live, I sell you my birthright. So he swore on the name. Ain't nobody forced that nigga to do that. He could have told that nigga, let my yea be yea and my nay be nay, nigga. I told you I'm going to sell it to you. So he said, as y'all live, I don't want this birthright. See, nobody consider that, do they? Nobody thinks about that. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and a pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Well, you hit FaceTime, boy. Now let's swing over here to 27, right? And let's look at this blessing. Let's look at the story. Let's see how it go down. Let's look at the whole story. Let's see how it go down. Well, we got to look at verse 1. We're going to move around because it's 5:15. We still got a little bit of time. It came to pass that when Isaac was old, his eyes were dim, so that he could not see. He called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, My son. He said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold, now I am old, and I know not the day of my death. Now you notice that Isaac didn't even wait to give the blessing until he was finna die. He could have been gave it to him. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons and thy quiver and thy bow, and go out in the field and take me some venison, and make me savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, and that my soul may baruch thee before I die. Rebekah heard what Isaac spake to Esau his son. Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, and saying, Behold, I hear thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison and make me savory meat, that I may eat and baruch thee before Yahuwah, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice. So whose plan is this? Is it Jacob's plan or Rebekah's plan? See now, what verse was that? Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Now let's drop down, because she knows she finna tell him go get a little goat. Look at verse 11. Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and he shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. His mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. Now let's go look at Romans chapter 9, and verse 1. Them strong words right there. And this woman just said she was willing to be separated for Elohim for her son's sake. Ain't nobody got that type of law to miss that. You know what's always funny when niggas say you stretching the script and you doing this and you doing that. Well, that's love right there. I say the truth in Mashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Ruach HaKadosh, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. Now, it didn't say that she had any sorrow in her heart, but don't you think her heart was kind of heavy to make sure her son get this blessing? For I could wish that myself were accursed for Mashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen's sake, according to the flesh. Is this not what she just said? Now look at what the next thing he said. Who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption. So, did the adoption pertain to Jacob, or did it pertain to Esau? According to what was told to Rebekah. And the esteem, and the covenants, and the giving of the Torah, and the service of Elohim, and the promises. Who did all that birthright pertain to, Jacob or Esau? So this woman was willing to accurse herself from her son in order for her son to receive these things. Did she not? Did not Mashiach himself do the same? Come on back to Genesis, man. And this is all what's about being that seed, because that seed is separated. Because you've seen him that was impaled. Which means you got grace. Because what got Jacob accepted? Nothing. Grace is what, which we're going to read it again in Romans 9. Grace is what got Jacob accepted. Grace is what made him con, which has made him a separated seed. So the next time you use the word con and you hear used, that should pop in your brain like this is the separated seed. These are the seed of the promise, not the seed of the flesh. Where we at in verse, where we at? I stopped in about verse 13. Let's drop down to about verse 18. Because we know what he did. He put the skin on him. He came unto his father and said, My Abba, and he said, Here I am, who art thou, my son? Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou bade me. Arise, pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that my soul may baruch thee. So you know when niggas got a problem, they should have a problem with Rebekah and not Jacob. And Isaac said unto his son, How is it that thou found it so quickly, my son? He said, Because Yahuwah thy Elohim brought it to me. Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. She definitely slapped you. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother's Esau's hands, so he baruched him. And he said, thou art my very son Esau. And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may baruch thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine and drink. When Yahushua got blessed, what he happened to do? Did he happen to have a little wine and a little bit of drink? So remember, right, if you see the head get cut off to be that seed, and that's that grace to be that separated seed, we see that that's only for those who believe in Yahushua amongst Yasharal. To see that that's the grace that causes you to be accepted. You know, we also had talked about, and I didn't hit it last night either, about being accepted, about if you believe and you're spoken and you're greatly afflicted, what we read in Psalms 116 last night. And then we just looked at John 12. That also talks about what Mashiach did in Luke 24. When he expounded unto that separated seed, which we were going to John 20 and we didn't go to. When Mashiach rose from the dead, he breathed on his apostles, didn't he? And he told them to receive what? Or the breastplate of righteousness, because he breathed in them. And that grace that he breathed in them is what caused them to be that separated seed, because they are the ones who actually seen him be impaled. Because remember what he said, Baruch to thy eyes, for thou hast seen. But Baruch to those that have not seen, yet believed. We have seen those wondrous works of his Torah by reason of the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach, which causes us to receive the Khan, to make us the Zerah, which means we seen the head that was impaled, which caused us to be the separated seed. See, niggas don't want to be, like people like to say, you know, we got to be the set apart amongst the set apart, and we got to be set apart, but the only way we can be set apart is through faith. That is what set apart every righteous man in this book, was his faith in Elohim. Look at Obadiah when Elijah came. He said, you ain't heard about what I did with he only hid those prophets at the risk of his life because he believed in Yahuwah. And he believed, because remember he said, believe in Yahuwah and believe his prophets so you may be established. Because a lot of people say, you ain't got to believe in no man. You're not believing in the man. You're believing in the man who sent that man, who's telling you about the man who sent him. I seen a nigga today, right? Well, yesterday, nigga was like, how niggas around here trying to teach other men's wives. And I wanted to say something, but I didn't. I say, number one, this Facebook. So you niggas taking Facebook way too serious. Don't be putting stuff out in the public and think a nigga, he should at least inbox her husband. Inbox her husband for what? Nigga, this is public domain. Nigga, don't have scriptural conversations and then you don't want nobody to say nothing to you. Keep off the internet then. You know what I'm saying? It's different if a nigga call your wife, inbox your wife, and then try to instruct her. That's a little shady. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no business doing that. But I'm like, how you niggas gonna react in a congregation setting? I'm the only one to teach my wife. What if you don't know what you're talking about? So you're not so in your pride, you're gonna risk your whole family's soul. Because I think it said somebody was teaching their wife about a doctrine that the husband didn't agree with. You know what I'm saying? He should have went to the husband first. Why do y'all even assume niggas know who niggas' husbands are? Every person who married on Facebook ain't got married to such and such on their page. Niggas just assume a nigga know you married and who your husband is. Well, so every woman you engage with on the internet, send me thou your husband. Ain't nobody doing all of that. You know what I'm saying? If you in person, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But come on, bro. This the internet, nigga. Then sometimes I sit back and look at, I think dudes don't want their wives to hear anything different than what they teaching them because you want control over your wife. So you want to control the information that she receives because you don't really care about her soul. You ain't seen that one insecure man in that book talking about, woman, I'm the only man you can hear the word from. Shoot, y'all got prophets everywhere. Y'all got teachers everywhere. So you mean to tell me you the only person your wife can hear the word from? You an idiot. So if a man started prophesying right in front of you and your wife, and you perceive it's the word of y'all, you gonna grab her and say, baby, you can't listen to him because I don't agree with what he prophesying. So you gonna damn her soul because you insecure. Because I'm still waiting for a nigga to produce the text that say a woman's husband is the only person that's supposed to teach her the word. I'm still waiting to find that because I've yet to read it. Because when we was in the land, did you hear them niggas say, I'm the only one that's going to teach my wife? They went to that temple, and they went to that synagogue, and they sat before them Levite priests, and they let them boys do what it do. You getting married does not make you a priest of Yahuwah and a messenger of his word. Let that be known. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't know it, how you going to teach it? But who am I? I don't know nothing. Look here, right? I wouldn't be mad if my wife listened to nobody else teach the word. You know what I'm going to tell her? Make sure it's right. Because if it ain't right, I'm going to tell you, you better stop listening to that nigga. You're going to go to hell now. That's all I can tell her. Because I know if a nigga feel like you preaching and you the only person she should listen to, how selfish is that? Don't the book say we know in part, we prophesy in part? This man over here may have a piece of revelation or information that you have not received. So you going to stop your wife from getting that piece of information because of your pride? You know what I'm saying? Do you not realize Peter had a wife when all the other apostles were preaching? Do you not realize she was sitting right there? But do you think Peter's wife went to Paul's house and listened to it? Probably not. That's disrespectful. Not even disrespectful on the teaching. Why is you at another man's house and I ain't there? At least tell me you're going because it's my home, boy. You know what I'm saying? That's even without the word. You don't have your wife. Your wife don't pop up at men's house and you don't know she there. You know what I'm saying? She supposed to let you know about that. I ain't talking about your girlfriend or your boyfriend because they don't owe you that. Those are not husband. That's husband and wife privileges right there. A girlfriend is not required to tell you where she going. Your boyfriend is not required to tell you where he going. They do that out of common courtesy. No, I mean, not, in reality, no, in reality, she does not, because she's not, because listen what I'm telling you, because that means she's submitting to a man who's not a husband. You say you can, but she's not required. There's the difference. See the difference? When we say requiring is, a woman who's not married to a man is not required to submit unto him. She's not, that's not her husband.
But how you gonna be somebody like?
But guess what then? Again though, you don't submit to someone who, the book say husband, wives submit to your husbands. Know the difference between doing something and being required to do it. She's not required to do it. She is not transgressing the word if she doesn't do it. Because you're not her husband. You know what I'm saying? At that point then, if she want to be a wife, some niggas will say, well, she need to bust her legs open. You know what I'm saying? She's not required to cook for you. She's not required to clean your house. She's not your wife. If you want her to do these things, then marry her. Just like that man is not required to take care of you.
So you don't feel like you ain't required. She ain't required to fix his plate. She ain't required.
No, she's not his wife. She's doing that by choice. She doesn't have to do. See, that's where our problem come in at, because we extend husband privileges and wife privileges to people you're not married to.
But then a lady who dating a man, you gonna be offended if he don't pay for your date. You gonna be offended.
But if it's a date, that means it's already understood that I'm gonna pay for that because I asked you out.
Or if I open the door for you, if you don't.
But again, but those are things that talk about common courtesy. That's not husband and wife privileges. You should open the door for all women. That's not a husband or wife privilege. I'm talking about as far as its common courtesy is concerned. You know what I'm saying? If you're a courteous individual, then yeah. If you're not courteous, then no. But like this here, should a man, hold on. But listen what I'm telling you. Should a man, oh, listen to me now, because we don't kill all that. Should a boyfriend pay his girlfriend's rent? Should he pay her bills? No, that's not his wife.
Well, technically, I shouldn't be standing.
Who said they were staying together? I didn't say nothing about staying together. I said pay her rent, pay her bills. That's not his wife. That's his choice if he chooses to, but he's not required to do so. He is not transgressing the law by not taking care of his own or his household, because that's not his wife.
But he's saying that that's just
Common courtesy. Yeah, but
I mean, if you're courting, if that's what you want.
Yeah, out of respect, you would do it,
Yeah.
but she's not required to tell you where she's going.
what's the initial conversation when you say you don't have to tell your girlfriend?
You do.
Meaning you can't be mad if she don't tell you because she doesn't have to.
She's not your wife.
So like if you don't pay for your food, you can't get mad.
You can get mad you not Justin being mad, because if you want her to tell you where you going, make her your wife.
Right, so you can
Man,
be
I'm
mad.
talking about another nigga house. She ain't my word no more.
When we ain't talking about just,
So niggas can't.
we're not talking about just, no, then I said to wherever she's going.
Got another nigga house. I'm not getting mad at my girl.
I said both of them actually. Both of them actually.
You don't have to tell them where you want me to come to your house.
You don't have to tell. She don't have to tell you where she going. She don't have to tell you who she with.
That's what you say you don't have to.
She doesn't have to do that because she is not. See, that's our problem. Yeah, exactly. See, that's our problem. We want husband and wife privileges without marrying people.
So if you was dating a girl and she don't want to do okay, because she's not your wife, you don't.
That means that I can't be mad about it. It's going to make me assess, do I want to continue courting this woman? But I can't because she's not my wife. So technically, she does not have an obligation to me. She doesn't have a covenant with me. She has nothing with me. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And consequently, I have no, but again, you taking the personally versus looking at what she is required to do. That woman is not required to submit to you. She is not your wife. And you cannot walk around with the expectation of submission from a woman who is not your wife. Because she is not obligated. She doesn't even have to listen to you. If you tell her you can't wear this outfit, you can't go here, she can go wherever she wants to go because she does not have to. But you got to understand. But listen what I'm telling you though. You got to look at the difference of the equation. If a husband tells a wife to do something and she does opposite, she has sinned. She can go to hell for that.
So you talking about from a book standpoint.
That's it. I don't care. I don't care about no natural stuff. That's irrelevant. We talking about text, this book. That woman is not obligated to you, and I'm not obligated to this woman because she's not my wife. If I want to be obligated to this woman, I need to marry her then. If I have expectations of submission, I need to marry her then. At the bare minimum, you need to get betrothed to her. Because if you boyfriend and girlfriend, y'all just court. Ain't no obligations on the line with nobody. There need to be a promise of marriage coming down the line. Guess what? We wouldn't have a lot of illegitimate children at this point. Because there's too many people that expect husband and wife privileges from people they're not married to. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. But now again, if you take it on the natural level, you would, out of respect, if you with somebody, you would tell them, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. But in the eyesight of Elohim, you're not required to do that. That's not required of you. And you know what happens because we do that? This is why people, especially with men, if you're going to act like my wife, why do I need to marry you then? I don't have to marry you at this point because you're playing the role. All we need to do is get official price set and make it official because we playing house. Stop playing house and build a house. And we won't have that problem. That's the problem. That's why we have so many kids out of wedlock because niggas playing house.
Because my cousin's doing that right now. Hey, that's because my cousin's doing that right now. Like, bro, why you just made like, bro, we stay together? What's the point? And he said, he's like, that's how my cousin look at it. He said, just a piece of paper, we stay together. You know what I'm saying? I pay the bills. Why should I marry her?
Yeah. I'm pretty just.
Yeah.
I know a woman who was dating a nigga. She had already planned to take a vacation to Hawaii. He told her you can't go, and she didn't go. That's not your husband. You could have went. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. But I feel like as a woman, I'm married. You can tell me what you want to do, but at the same time,
But see,
why would you do that? Like if you want to be somebody's wife,
but at the,
I don't like to be your plate, but why wouldn't I?
but again, because you're looking at it from the aspect of this is what you want to do. But listen, understand the point that I'm telling you. Regardless if you choose to do it or not, you have to get it in your brain as a man. She does not have to do this. She is not required to do this. You can't make her feel like she's an unjust or wicked woman because she has not done this. On the flip side, if this man don't want to pay your rent or get your car fixed or buy you clothes or get your hair done, you can't make him feel like he's a wicked man for not taking care of you because you're not his wife. So if you want this woman to do these things, and you want these men to do these things, then don't play house. Don't extend marriage privileges to people you're not married to. That's the point. Because you know what ends up happening? Somebody ends up butt naked with their butt in the air, and sin has been conceived. Because you feel comfortable enough to do it because you've been extending husband and wife privileges to someone you're courting. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit back and look at that. Now, of course, if you want to fix your man's plate, ain't nobody going to knock you for that. You know what I'm saying? If this man say, if you call him and say, baby, I'm late on my rent, I ain't get paid, ain't nobody going to knock him for paying it. But he ain't got to do it. He ain't got to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what what I'm trying to get to the point is the sense of entitlement. That because you're dating someone, you feel like that they are entitled to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And they're not. They're not. You know what I'm saying? So what you got to look at is if this person is willing to do this without having and not having to do it, and this is how you're able to tell, yes, this is somebody who I would want to marry. Because they're doing something they don't have to do. And that is what you call service and selflessness and the working to building of something between two people. But in the instance that they choose not to do it, you can't get mad at them because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. That's not your husband. That's not your wife. You can't be mad. Do you know how many dudes date women and tell them women they need to submit to them? That's in this word. That's not your wife. The book don't say girlfriend submit to your boyfriend. It say wives submit to your husbands in everything. So if he's not your husband, you don't have to submit to him. And we don't need to be teaching our daughters to do that. If that nigga wants you to listen to him, then you tell that nigga give me your last name then. Period. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask me to come cook for you, nigga. I'm not your wife, nigga. You better call your mammy to do it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about saying it with the expectation that she's supposed to jump up and do it. You know what I'm saying? If that woman declined and you get mad, you showing how selfish you is. I'm talking about if you in this word. We ain't talking about no sinners. You can't get mad. You want a 5-course meal, it's $98 downtown, man. Go handle that. Nevertheless, though. We'll finish this because we got to dip. But hallelujah for Yahushua. We got to dip. We'll continue on Wednesday.